Hi, I'm MarzGurl.
I'm JoshKnightTheFirst.
So we just got back from watching The Killing Joke in theaters.
Yes, Batman The Killing Joke.
So I suppose it's coming out, I know it's coming out digitally tomorrow. I know most of you guys are going to see this after it's come out digitally. When's it supposed to come out on Blu-ray and DVD?
Next month.
Okay, so it's still going to be a while. Okay.
Of course, a lot of people had already gotten to see it this weekend at San Diego Comic-Con. A lot of early reviews letting people know about the very iffy portions of the movie, but we didn't want to say anything until we got to see it for ourselves, since we had already bought tickets well before we found out about these new portions of the movie that they've added.
So that's really the part that I think needs the most discussion, because I'll say the good part about it up front: if you're just looking for a straight-up adaptation of The Killing Joke from comic to animated movie format, it's there.
Yes,
it's
it is
there,
absolutely there.
And it's just about as perfect as you could ask for, aside from stylistically some artistic changes as far as art style and choice of bat symbol and Batmobile are concerned. Like, they tried to mix 80s with modern kind of a feel. Otherwise, it's the exact same. If you've already read the comic, then it's the same thing, and there's no deviation complaint there at all.
From the Killing Joke portion, because we do have to make that distinction.
Yeah, I feel like this is two completely different movies that they tried to jam together.
Because they had said up front that in order to pad out the movie, because when you break it down, The Killing Joke is a kind of a quick read.
Yeah,
it's not that thick. So what they did was they let people know ahead of time that they were adding this quote-unquote prologue, which is what we're referring to as the completely different movie, because it's basically a completely different movie.
And I get what they were, what they thought they were trying to do with it, because when it was announced that they were going to do The Killing Joke, it of course brought The Killing Joke back into the foreground of people's comic memories, and they remembered, oh, you remember what it did to Barbara Gordon? We hate that. We hate what it did to her. And whatever it ended up doing to her, I otherwise like the rest of the comic. Yeah, maybe you can argue that what was done to Barbara is tasteless, and the reasons why they chose to do it at the time were probably pretty tasteless.
The problem here is, though, what they think they're padding out the rest of this feature-length animated movie with.
They think they're fixing Barbara in this, is what they think they're doing.
In essence, is actually more tasteless than the actual Killing Joke portion, where she's paralyzed by the Joker. Because what they end up doing is trying to tell the story about Batman and Batgirl being on a separate mission before the events of the Killing Joke actually happen, and as such, the way Barbara / Batgirl is portrayed comes off as very, for me, for my money, for my experience with the character, very demeaning. Because, like we were having some discussion back and forth there in the theater, she very much doesn't have the same faculties as she did before. I mean, yeah, she still looks like Batgirl, she's still got Tara Strong as her voice from, Season 4 of the animated series, but as far as characterization goes, it came across as so much more shallow.
Oh, yeah. I feel like the entire point of her characterization was to want so desperately to be in a relationship with Batman, to be someone who is to be desired, because she works at the library and apparently every hot, brainy study dude is eyeballing her from across the library for some reason, and then even the dude that she's trying to bring into justice also has the hots for her, and Bruce is the only one who brings up he's objectifying you, and I'm like, oh, Bruce gets it, and it's like the rest of the movie doesn't, and sure enough, they say she's hot, they suggest that it's her time of the month when
she's beating somebody up and angry.
And I'm just like, if women were getting mad at what The Killing Joke originally did to her, then I hope that they're mad at what happens here, because I legitimately believe that they were like, oh, well, if people didn't like what they did to her in The Killing Joke in the first place, then we gotta fix it. We gotta make people like Barbara and show that she was awesome before this. And I don't feel like that was true, because she made a whole bunch of really bad decisions, not even based on relationship status or anything, just really not juvenile, but what did she call the bad guy that she was beating up? Newbie. What is the word I'm looking? But she was acting like a newbie, and she was making rookie mistake. Rookie. She was acting like a rookie, and that's what Batman's griping on. So she doesn't look badass, except for, like, she threw a couple of kicks and punches, but she made rookie mistakes, and so I don't feel like this did her any justice, even when she's working on whatever this case is, to bring this guy into justice.
No, the bigger problem I have is that characterization-wise, even carrying over into the actual Killing Joke portion, Batman's characterization is just fine, up until the point where he allows himself, or they both allow themselves to have a physical moment together, which totally contradicts everything. Like, he had just said 5 minutes prior those lines of, he's using you, I want you off the case. And then they bang, obviously. And apparently very passionately, according to Barbara's admission there later on.
Oh, she was describing it as being fantastic, and I was just like, oh my god, I don't like this. And then her throwing out the line, it was just sex, okay? Can't we just go back to the way things were? And, you know, if I'm
this being said while they're in costume.
And I'm just like, man, I'm pretty sure Bruce knows it was just sex. I don't think that's the reason he's not talking to you. I'm pretty sure it was because you made a whole bunch of different rookie mistakes.
Well, see, the thing about it is Bruce never brings it up again for the rest of the movie. He doesn't. She brings it up.
You know, the review that we read before said that, oh, now it makes it look like Batman is going after the Joker because he feels bad about what happened to Barbara, blah-de-blah, and especially because of their previous relationship, blah-de-blah. And I'm just like,
I never got that vibe.
No, it's pretty much still the exact same Killing Joke it ever was, and, like, why did I watch this 30-some-odd minute prologue? Like, it's so disjointed from the rest of the movie, which is so good.
And that's the thing about it, though. For as much problem as anybody has with the prologue, you honestly, because of the way they edited it, and I partly believe they did that on purpose, there's a very clear cut in between what the prologue is and when the Killing Joke starts. And then, if you want to go see this movie, do definitely go see the Killing Joke portion. If you already know about the problems that come up, if you have a personal problem with the prologue, you can skip the prologue and it doesn't ruin the Killing Joke portion at all.
I feel like, too, I'm going to give you guys a second here to pause right here if you feel like this is something that's going to be considered a spoiler for things that happen after the Killing Joke portion of the book ends. Pause. Okay, now unpause. Right at the end of the Killing Joke portion, after you finish the last panel of the book, then there's a little bit of credits, and then you see Barbara wheelchairs herself in, and she's doing Oracle stuff. And I'm like, oh man, that is so totally enough to make it worth it. Like, that was all they needed to do
to show that she was strong.
To show that she still decided, I'm still gonna pursue justice, even though I'm handicapped right now. Like, that was the strongest possible thing you could have done. Why did you give us that first half an hour that was so meaningless otherwise?
Yeah, because to actually talk about the movie itself, it is very much what people were saying it was going to be. Mark Hamill couldn't have possibly done a better job. This, I truly believe, with everything considered, the Arkham games, the animated series, this is his finest Joker performance. This is the thing you can tell, just listening to him, he was savoring the moments, especially when they're talking about, you know, the flashback sections there, how he's really relishing in...
Granted, who knows when he's going to do it again now, too.
Well, yeah, now that he's gotten it out of his system. But then he's in Justice League Action now as the Joker
that's
again.
True.
So there you go. And they had this little small interview with him before the movie started, talking about how he said, "Oh, after the Arkham games, I went on Twitter and said I'm never going to do it again." And then this happened.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. You know, you can see he absolutely loves the character. But if I had one complaint about the presentation of the movie, is that there was so much emphasis on Mark Hamill as the Joker, which he does deserve. There was no interview section whatsoever with Kevin Conroy as Batman, and personally, as a fan of the character, I found that to be a little lacking. Like, I wanted to hear his take on it.
Well, when even Bruce Timm is being interviewed, and this is happening after the movie, because this was a Fathom event and they had other extras to go along with it, and Bruce Timm is being interviewed, "Oh, I so desperately wanted Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy." I'm like, cool, don't you have any footage of Kevin Conroy, too, if you thought that he was equally as desirable to pair together with Mark Hamill? But no, they made this the Mark Hamill show.
Yeah.
And I love Mark Hamill, don't get me wrong, but I love him paired with Kevin Conroy.
Yes, yes.
They complete one another, much like they kept touting Batman and the Joker complete one another as characters.
Yeah, so as far as that's concerned, I wish there was just as much emphasis put on Batman as the Joker. Admittedly, this is a very Joker-centric story, but I just wish there was that balance. As far as Kevin Conroy's performance, it was
Batman.
It's pitch-perfect Batman as it's ever been. Just certain little lines there's a little extra relish on, when he gets to say, "Swear to me!"
Yeah.
You're used to Christian Bale saying that, but he's got that there. There were also, which jogs my memory, little Easter eggs that they decided to throw in there when Bruce is in the Batcave looking at, I guess,
like they redid all old classic artwork of previous Joker pieces and
as well as
Robin,
as well as movie poses. There was a Nicholson pose and there was a Heath Ledger pose, of course drawn in this Killing Joke style for this animated movie. I thought that's a nice touch. That's good there. They're showing this encapsulation of everything that makes these two what they are, which is really what a lot of people love about the story. But like you said, there's not too much you can expand upon there because it jumped off the page. It is what it needed to be. There's that extra little song that they threw in for Mark Hamill to sing.
Which was technically kind of written out in the comic already, but you couldn't hear it in your head as a song, but they did it, and you know what, that solidified just how Jokery this Joker really was, because I felt like in the original comic, it was so dark that the Joker almost wasn't funny anymore in it, but then adding the song and dance number was like, okay, there it is. Okay, they rounded it out. This is good. This is good characterization.
And then the thing that sells it for me, as a fan of the comic, I could hear it in my head, and I was waiting for it. The very last panel where Joker tells Batman that joke that he finally laughs at. I'm like, I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting to hear Kevin Conroy's Batman laugh, which he's done once or twice. I think he did it in Mad Love in one episode, that particular episode. But then it was like, that's it. I've been waiting to hear that, and there it was, perfectly presented. But yes, I would recommend watching the movie. It is the Killing Joke. I can't say that enough. The Killing Joke portion is worth it. It is a great adaptation of the comic book, of the graphic novel. By all means, skip that prologue. It serves nothing.
Yeah, I agree. It serves absolutely nothing. But once it got, it's just two different movies. Once you got to that Killing Joke portion, I couldn't have been more pleased. If you already know the material, you already know you either like it or you don't like it, especially because of Barbara Gordon related stuff. So you make that decision on your own. But I was pleased with the way they adapted it. It was the best adaptation I think I could have hoped for.
Yeah. So that'll be coming out soon. Of course, some different outlets have it online already, but of course it'll be widely available starting tomorrow, the 26th. Definitely do check it out. Just, you've been warned. Probably not just by us.
Right.
But that was our thoughts on it. You can make your own thoughts and let us know what you thought.
Certainly. Be looking forward to hearing from you guys. Thanks.
All right. Take care.